Consider pornography to be a business that is run by men, yet exploitive of women. But our guests today feel otherwise. They are women who each have a different role in producing, appearing in, and marketing adult entertainment. Seika has appeared in many X-rated movies, and now she produces them as well. Ona Z just started acting in adult movies about 1.5 years ago, but she says she's wanted to make love on screen ever since she was a teenager. Candida Royale used to be a porn actress. Now she's on the other side of the camera, producing and directing her own line of erotic films for women and couples. And Gloria Leonard publishes an explicit men's magazine, but she has also dabbled in directing and appearing in adult movies. Okay, I guess the first question is, what is the big difference between the way women produce porn and the way men produce porn? Suppose we start with Candida.
As you know, Sally, I don't like to call my work porn. I consider it erotica. It is produced from a much more sensitive, tender approach. I do not focus on I do not take a graphic approach. It focuses on relationships, on sensuality being the key theme, and it's just a much more tender, loving approach, and an effort to produce material that couples can share together to promote a feeling of intimacy, rather than someone just oogling at bodies and body parts. It's a much more overall erotic sort of entertainment.
Gloria, as somebody who's been watching this industry for quite a while and has a very prominent part in it, do you agree with what she said? Is there a difference between...
Yes, there is, and I had the good fortune recently to write and direct a piece for the Femme series. And I think Candida is a very good example of somebody who perhaps came out of the business as an actress not feeling particularly great about themselves, and rather than bitch and moan about how awful it is trying to affect change the only way that you really can, and that is by putting your creative energy, your money, and so forth into product that you think people do want to see. And I think that there is a difference between the kind of stuff that Candida produces and a lot of the stuff that comes out from the male side.
What really specifically is the difference?
Specifically, the difference is the lack of graphic genitalia, close-up shots. There is certainly more chase, more foreplay, more of the mystique, more of the romanticism, I think, that women and couples tend to want to see more of. And even men, though, are now starting to become more aware of the sensibilities of the new audience and are getting away from the old formula kind of adult stuff that used to be just bodies and why are they there and who cares. Now you care.
Then what makes it, if it sounds so soft, what makes it erotic or pornographic at all? Why wouldn't one say, I just produce movies that are love stories?
They pretty much are love stories.
They are love stories, and they are erotic in nature. The purpose, the reason that people would watch my movies is to have an atmosphere of intimacy, basically. It's not for the purpose of going out and seeing a great spy thriller or a great drama. It's for the purpose of seeing something on an evening together by candlelight and a glass of wine maybe, and putting you in a very close, intimate mood.
Oh, now, what do you say when people say that doing this, working in this industry, really betrays women? What would your answer be?
I would say that that's really a personal point of view. I think that I personally don't know any women who feel betrayed or feel used or feel put down by what they're doing. It's a consensual thing. It's something that they really want to do. For myself, I can only speak for myself, and I know that it's made me feel really good. I've experienced a lot of things that I wouldn't have experienced in any other way at any other time.
What makes you feel really good?
Acting, making love with people that I really enjoy being with, sharing myself, representing, being able to share a spiritual side of myself. For me, erotic films, adult films, is very spiritual.
What we're going to do now is show you Ona doing this spiritual thing, just a small clip, and please, we've edited it so there's not as much spirituality in it.
I'm sure.
We've edited it for the, you know, for national television.
What can I do for you?
You can take me to bed with you.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Okay, aren't we supposed to do some, shouldn't we...
Shouldn't we what?
Well, I mean, aren't we supposed to do something before we just... Yeah.
Listen, I can make all that cute conversation that men love to hear. And we can do all that later. But right now, I want to get... Now, either you're going or I'm gonna leave.
Oh, no. Well, yes, yeah.
If I'd like to make an observation about that, contrary to what a lot of people, particularly women, believe about how women are portrayed, stereotyped as we're abused and degraded and exploited, there's an example I've never seen in a film before. There's a woman in control. She has taken charge of what she wants. And that's how the new age of adult films are. It shows women being and taking the responsibility for their own sexuality.
Which is rare to see in an adult film.
And
It's starting to change because there are more women getting into the industry as far as writing, producing, directing, editing, and taking an overall view of the situation because men and women think differently.
They do.
But that, you know, with all due respect, you're calling that spiritual. Well, I think that's a male's fantasy dream of a woman saying, take down your pants, I want you, darling.
I'm not calling...
I mean, I don't consider that being in charge. I think that men sort of
But that spirituality may not be what is on film. It may be what is felt inside of you when you do it.
It is what's felt inside of me.
I understand that.
I've produced...
But I don't consider a woman saying...
Come and get me.
Come and get me.
If I may interject something here, I think what Ona is trying to say is that now that women are stepping behind the camera, we have an opportunity to share what we want to say about sexuality. And I just produced a movie called Rites of Passion, and Ona also just produced and directed something that had to do with Eastern higher consciousness love and sexuality. It's all about Tantra. And I know that this is what Ona is trying to tell you, that it's not that she's saying, oh, this was a spiritual scene. It's that what she has had the opportunity coming into this industry to do is to make a movie that reflects something she feels will enrich other people's lives. It's a piece about higher consciousness, a way of making love called Tantra.
That's right. Now, I don't always get the opportunity to do that. I work for people who do not have that consciousness, but I give as much of myself as I possibly can. I bring all that I am to that piece, and I also don't accept parts in movies that I feel do not best represent me and my feelings.
Question.
Do you want to hear about excitement? Do you want to hear about what this product does for excitement?
Oh, I feel a really grim victim story coming up here.
It's not funny, okay? When I was a child, from the age of 4 to 8, I was sexually molested by a family member with stacks and stacks of pornography around me and pages opening to me to show me exactly what to do to this family male member.
I would like to respond to you and say that I'm sorry that that happened to you, but that's really a personal thing. I mean, you know, it's not our intention or the intention of anyone that makes these films. I mean, we have no control over the mind of someone who's
and I do believe that sexual abuse
person
would happen whether pornography existed.
How would you feel if one of your children came to you and said, Mom, look at what this person has done to me? And I was very small.
Well,
at that point, I would have if you were my child, I would have immediately taken you out of the house and put you somewhere safe and done whatever I could to eliminate that person for eternity.
This is for adults.
But you're promoting this.
I really
not for children.
No,
it's not
promoting that at all.
But it's open to children. Children are being abused.
It is not open to children at all.
Any time I could have walked into that room.
It was open to you because it was inflicted upon you against
and that's
your
exploitation.
We have to ask the members of our panel to talk one at a time because what happens, you cancel out on the mic.
It's unfortunate that it happened to you, and I do agree with you. No, it is not for children. We don't make it for children.
It's
for
available to children.
Adults. It's not available for children.
I could have walked into that room at any time and found that, and
all right,
found
but
the material.
excuse me, but your parents then, or not your parents, or whoever, were the adult figures in your life at that particular time, were not responsible adults, or they would not have let that happen.
Let me take a break. Gloria, we'll start with you.
I would like to talk about abuses of things in general.
Okay, we'll allow you to do that. Let me take a break. We'll be right back. You're talking about women promoting porn, and I asked Gloria, I said, Gloria, it's your turn.
Yes, in respect to this lady's very sad circumstances as a child, there are people, as we know, that will abuse anything and everything. There are people who abuse food, people who abuse alcohol, drugs, and there probably are poor few souls that abuse this kind of material. We do not, however, when somebody drives drunk, remove the privilege of automobiles or alcohol. By and large, 99.5% of the people who consume this material do so responsibly. And I don't like being held responsible for the irresponsible actions of other adults who inflicted material upon someone like you who was not ready for it, obviously.
Let me just say, while you're standing here, we're going to show a small clip of Gloria in one of Candida's films.
It's called Three Daughters.
It's called what?
Three Daughters.
Three Daughters.
I play a mom of three daughters.
Okay.
Oh, God, Bill. Do you remember these things? I used to wear them all the time.
Yeah. And I used to be crazy about them. You always had the most beautiful legs. In fact, you still have the world's most gorgeous legs.
Oh, Bill.
Only in those days, you could never get past the knee.
I don't know. You did pretty good for yourself.
Question.
I agree with the woman down there who said that, you know, if you truly love somebody, you don't need these. I also said I would not judge these people up here, but what I want to say to the people watching the show is that if you need to watch these, then you must have a problem, and to look, you know, for an answer to that problem.
Well, then 100
look
million
somewhere
people must have had a problem last year.
I'd like,
I'd
like very much to give you some statistics on the people that these are, you know. In 1984, 54 million people rented X tapes in the United States. 54 million people must have a problem. In 1986, 104 million people rented tapes, X-rated. Currently, the statistics are, from this January, 88, 200 million people will rent X-rated tapes. These are the consensus figures from national magazines Time, Fortune,
I don't know
Business
that
Week.
it's correct to say because everybody does it, it's right, by the way. So I have great problem with that.
I agree with that 100%.
And I also can give you how many... You know, just let me give that back to you in terms...
that it's not...
A million
right
people
for,
take drugs is taking
doesn't
drugs
make it
all right.
right.
But at
Exactly.
least we're honest
Question.
about our sexuality. We don't pretend to take money from people on the premise we're going to pray for them and then go have sex.
Well...
Okay.
I have a comment. I don't know how they can say that this is not available to children. It is available to children, especially at their fingertips. You could not be home, and there's a telephone number for these kids to call and listen to all of this.
That is now being rectified.
Yes,
Okay, but you can't say that it's not available. It is available.
It is not
And we as parents,
available
if there's
to
something on
children.
television, we as parents can control what they can watch, whether it's violent or whether it's not. We
You can't
You can control that.
I said we can.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
We'll be right back.
I think there's a lot of room in society for eroticism, and I think that what Candida's trying to do is to make it more accessible to women, and I think it's far less dangerous for a child to get hold of a porn film than to see endless killings and murder on television.
Hear, hear. Thank you very much.
Sally,
I tend to agree. I've always believed there's something very pornographic about violence.
You don't see it, or you do?
Oh no, to me, I agree.
To me, violence is the epitome
of real
pornography. If you look at, there's a whole genre of slasher gasher movies, Last House on the Left, I Spit on Your Grave, that just because a woman is pretty and alone arbitrarily makes her a victim of some heinous crime, and I think that you should be much more offended by that than by people making love to one another.
I agree.
I would like to know how you all got started. You just don't fill out a job application for, something like this. And do you ever get tired of it? Doing what you do in the movies and then having to go home and do it again. I know it's different between sex and love.
Go home and do it again.
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, first of all, I
live alone, so I don't have to go home and
let's go down the line. Seiko, would you like to answer her question?
I got started in adult entertainment about 10 years ago, and I owned 6 adult bookstores at the time. And from watching the movies that I was watching by owning the stores, and I saw these women with dirty feet and runs in their stockings and their makeup smeared all over their face, looking like pigs, literally. I said to myself, if those girls can do that, I can do it and do it a lot better, and I feel that I have.
First, I want to say that these girls are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous enough to be a model. Why would you want your body exploited in this manner?
I was a model for a long time.
I will respond to that, and because I feel real strong about this.
Do you hear that a lot?
As a matter of fact, it pisses me off.
Do you hear that a lot?
No, not what you said. It doesn't bother me that way. I have been approached by very numerous amounts of quote-unquote legitimate modeling agencies for fashion and for major movie motion pictures. Except their casting couch is behind the silver screen, and mine happens to be on the screen.
That's right.
And I will not condescend myself to go on a casting couch to get a job.
What we do is much more honest, because in our business, you don't have to do it to get the part. You do it for the part.
You're doing it anyway.
I'd just like to say that I think just because people are willing to buy these movies, I don't think it justifies degrading women when, if you had any intelligence, you wouldn't have to resort to making money in this way.
I don't think that justifies the response.
Excuse me.
I won't dignify that with a response.
I will dignify it with a response, because I don't think you know how much intelligence it takes to produce, write, direct, and edit a film.
But it takes ignorance to make that kind of a statement, so you did well.
Goodness. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say that it seems the material that we're speaking of that you are involved in is really actually soft porn. Okay, most of the people I think here are objecting to the hardcore porn. Now, the studies that I have read about have indicated and proved that soft porn is addictive and leads to men, and probably women too, that go on to the hardcore. And the hardcore is really quite disgusting.
I think those studies have been very counteracted. There's been many studies to disprove all of your claims.
I still have trouble with the difference between soft and hardcore porn, but I think that's something that you have to kind of demonstrate.
The distinction that takes material over the line from softcore to hardcore is erection and or penetration.
That's right.
I think what's happening with pornography is that we're abusing our First Amendment rights. We're abusing women as a group. People would not be allowed to abuse one other group of society the way that pornographers abuse women.
In your view, they're abused.
That's your point of view.
I could bring you 1,000 women here who can testify they haven't been abused. You think they're abused.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. In the break, Seika was suggesting that if you read the story of Marilyn Monroe, Goddess, that you will learn a lot about a different form, perhaps, of pornography. We want
From
to
our
say,
government on down.
we want to say that Gloria publishes High Society magazine, which will make everybody happy doing that. We've already talked about femme films. And I guess that it is, to me, always helpful to hear both sides, and it's, in my mind, different strokes for different folks. But thank you very much for coming and being with us.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Some members of our audience will receive, and a promotional fee has been provided by